Hey guys, Sebastian here from Blackguard Vintage. Welcome to our gallery. In today's video, we'll be talking about the Fender Vintera II series. This series, in my opinion, represents a very important part of the Fender catalog because these are the budget guitars that you'll often see in the hands of guitar players that are cutting their teeth, playing gigs, and really, trying to make a living out of this. These guitars are not to their golden era or the guitars from their three most popular decades, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And you find a variety of different models that again represent some of the most desirable specs from those eras. And I'm very happy with these. The quality is definitely there, even though these guitars are not made in the US, they're definitely made with love. And you can tell that some of the choices that have been made in the design of the instrument really reflect that. So let's talk about some of the models, what they have to offer, and some of the specifics. So what I'm holding right here is the Vintera II 50s Stratocaster. In the case of the Strat, they come available in three different decades. You have the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And each one of those offers a variety of different finishes and specs that are specific to those eras. For example, in the 50s, as you can see, it's a maple fretboard. It's got a chunky neck as well, just like a lot of those early Strats did. And it has a hint of a V in the top, just like those early Strats. The radius, it's a 7 1/4, which is vintage spec, but the frets are, even though vintage style, they're tall. So with a proper setup, these guitars were played really, really well. The pickups are inspired after each decade again, and they have that classic sound. Often when I pick up a guitar that is more budget friendly, I have a tendency of thinking of upgrades that I would make to that guitar. However, that's not the case with these. Like from the get-go, they just feel really good. There's really nothing that I would change, and the pickups is one of those things that most people tend to go after, but these pickups, all of them really sound fantastic. And there's nothing really bad to say about it. You have a 5-way switch, you have your spaghetti logo headstock with vintage style tuners, and it's definitely a nod to a Strat from the 50s. Moving on from there, you have the 60s Stratocaster, which offers some different specs. You have different custom colors, a mint pick guard, you have a C neck profile that's quite thin at the top and then it gets fat towards the bottom, and most importantly, rosewood on the fretboard, which is one of the things that I personally wasn't a huge fan of in the older Vintera series. I think that rosewood is a very important wood in Fender guitars, and now that I have brought it back, I'm very thankful that they have, Then moving on to the 70s model, you can see how you have some classic 70s appointments, such as the large headstock, which comes either in rosewood or maple, the bullet style truss rod, the neck profile is that classic 70s thin C. The pickups are 70s styles, which have that, that clarity, that warmth. You even have the 3-bolt neck plate in the back, as well as different custom colors. So as you can see, all of these have, those specs that we all love from the most classic Fenders that we have seen throughout the decades. So also talking about the Jazzmasters, this one only comes available as a 50s model, but once again, we find really cool specs that are specific to those made around this era, such as the gold ionized pickguard, which it's a very specific thing that they only did for a few years, but it's really cool to see it on this guitar. This has to be the nicest ionized pickguard that I've ever tried. Usually they're much thicker and the edges are quite sharp, which can get uncomfortable if you're playing live and you hit it on the edge. You can really scratch your fingers, and believe me, it's not pretty. The neck profile is the right one too. You have that classic 60 C. You have this sonic blue color. They also come available in other finishes. But again, I gotta say that every one of these guitars is just killer. Also, a lot of you guys have been asking about the cars in the comment section, and to answer your question, yes, they're all available for sale in our website. So if you guys want to find out more about our cars, check check out the links down below in the description. Even with the Telecaster, for example, they have done some really cool things. So what I'm holding here, it's the 50s Nocaster model. So again, if you're a vintage nerd just like me, you'll notice the nod here to, well, the Nocaster, which historically speaking, it's a guitar that was placed right between the Broadcaster and the Telecaster. If you learn a bit about the history of Fender, you'll learn that Gretsch had built a drum set also named the Broadcaster. So Fender got a cease or desist letter from Gretsch, it said that they had to change their name, and Leo had already printed all these labels, and what he did, instead of making new ones, he just clipped the Broadcaster name of it. And for a while, all the guitars that looked like this were being shipped with just the Fender logo. They didn't say anything. Eventually, those were known as the Nocasters, and these, again, are not to that era, which I love. It just shows, the passion and the respect that Fender has for their history and how important it is for, their fans. And some things are very funny to see, such as this neck profile, which is just massive. It's not really usual to see a neck this big on a modern production guitar, but if you love those big necks from that era, you're definitely gonna like this quite a bit. And just like the Strat, it has a 7¼ radius with vintage frets that are tall. You also have this vintage style Nocaster or Telecaster pickups, which again, they capture the essence of that sound. And again, you have period correct specs, such as the flat pole pieces on the bridge pickup, brass saddles, you have your barrel style knobs, and of course the classic butterscotch finish. And yeah, it's so cool to see it on a guitar like this. If you move on from there to the 60s, now you find the Telecaster, which of course it comes with a rosewood fretboard and a different set of finishes. The one that we have here, for example, is finished on Fiesta red, and as you can see, you have aluminum saddles as well as the staggered pole piece bridge pickup. You have the different switch tip, and those details that really make it so cool. In my personal opinion, I wish they came with a hard case and maybe a nitrocellulose finish, which we might see later down the road with maybe the Road Worn series. But if you love just the classic history from Fender and you want a quality guitar that is not going to break the bank, definitely the Vintera II series is going to be that guitar for you. So check them out. They're available on our website. You can also come here and play them in person. If not, you can just watch me play it from home. And before we jump into that, let me talk about the amplifier that I have here behind me. This is the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe 3, which is, again, the perfect pair to make with these guitars. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find out more about the Fender Vintera II series, head over to waltgracevintage.com. All these guitars are listed down below in the description, so if you want to see them individually, make sure to click those links. If you guys want to support the channel, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if you guys want to consume more content like this, you can follow us on Instagram at @waltgracevintage. My name is Sebastian. Till next time.